Welcome to my channel where we discuss everything and all things politics, especially about the 2023 presidential election in Nigeria. Internationally acclaimed author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie says the process of the Nigerian presidential election was not marred by technical faults, but deliberately manipulated. She said this in a letter she wrote to the President of the United States, Mr. Joe Biden, which has been published in some of the most influential newspapers in America. In the letter addressed to Joe Biden, the US President, Adichie expressed dissatisfaction over the process of the presidential election conducted on February 25. She said the election was full of discrepancies and irregularities, which were all shunned by the Independent National Electoral Commission. She said that since the end of military rule in 1999, Nigerians have had little confidence in elections. To vote in a presidential election was to brace oneself for the inevitable aftermath, fraud, she said. Elections will be rigged because elections were always rigged. The question was how badly. Sometimes voting felt like an inconsequential gesture as predetermined winners were announced. A law passed last year, the 2022 Electoral Act, changed everything. It gave legal backing to the electronic accreditation of voters and the electronic transmission of results in a process determined by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The chair of the commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, assured Nigerians that votes will be counted in the presence of voters and recorded in a result sheet, and that a photo of the signed sheet will immediately be uploaded to a secure server. When rumors circulated about the commission not keeping its words, Yakubu firmly rebutted them. In a speech at Chatham House in London, a favorite influence banishing hunt of Nigerian politicians, he reiterated that the public will be able to view polling unit results as soon as they are finalized on election day. Nigerians applauded him. If results were uploaded right after voting was concluded, then the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, which has been in power since 2015, would have no opportunity for manipulation. Technology will redeem Nigerian democracy. Results will no longer feature more votes than voters. Nigerians will no longer have their leaders choosing for them. Elections now finally capture the true voice of the people. And so trust and hope were born. By the evening of February 25, 2023, that trust had dissipated. Election workers had arrived hours late or without basic election materials. There were reports of violence, of a shooting at a polling unit, and of political operatives stealing or destroying ballot boxes. Some law enforcement officers seem to have colluded in voter intimidation. In Lagos, a policeman stood idly by as the APC spokesperson threatened members of a particular ethnic group who he believed would vote for the opposition. Then Chimamanda began to write and talk about INEC and the electronic election. She said that Mahmoud Yakubu, the INEC chairman, despite promising a free and credible election, hastily announced a winner without investigating reports of irregularities recorded during the poll. She said the elections were not only rigged but also insulted the intelligence of Nigerians, as there was no legal action to issues of evident manipulation reported. I think this place, Amanda was talking about the fact that there were complaints of manipulation, which INEC ought to have looked into, but they refused to look at it. They hastily announced the result without looking at it. If you remember, at the National Collection Center, Senator Dino Melaye, one of the agents of the PDP, and the agent of the Labour Party and others, other opposition parties, they protested about the inaccuracies of the data that was being collated by Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Mahmoud Yakubu promised that they would look into it later, but they didn't look into it. Later that night, in the early hours of the morning the following day, Mahmoud Yakubu announced the results. So Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is kind of recalling this story to Joe Biden. And furthermore, I will tell you this, the reason why this her letter is weighty, because Chimamanda is not just an ordinary resident of the United States. She's an influential personality in the United States. She's a household name in America. So let's go to his the letter. Let's go to further. Then after we analyze it, she said that most egregious of all, the Electoral Commission reneged on its assurance to Nigerians. The presidential results were not uploaded in real time. Voters, understandably suspicious, reacted. Videos from police stations show voters shouting that results be uploaded right away. Many took cell phone photos of the result sheets. Curiously, many polling units were able to upload the results of the House and Senate election, but not the presidential election, she said. No one was surprised when by the morning of the 26th, social media became flooded with evidence of irregularities. Result sheets were now slowly being uploaded on the INEC portal and could be viewed by the public. Voters compared their cell phone photos with the uploaded photos and saw alterations. Numbers crossed out and rewritten. Some originally written in black ink had been rewritten in blue. Some blunderingly white out with tip X. The election had been not only rigged but done in such a shabby manner that it insulted the intelligence of Nigerians. Then she now began to address the issue of INEC disregard for red flag. INEC shunned red flag. She said, as vote counting began at INEC, representatives of different political parties, except for the APC, protested. The results being counted, they said, did not reflect what they had documented at the polling units. There were too many discrepancies. It seemed truly perplexing that in the context of a closely contested election in a low-trust society, the Electoral Commission would ignore so many glaring red flags in its rush to announce a winner. It had the power to pause vote counting. It has the power to pause vote counting to investigate the irregularities, as it would do in the governorship elections 2 weeks later. Of course, this thing she was telling Biden is what some of us pointed out earlier on, previously in our other videos. INEC has 14 days with which to declare the presidential election result. So why was INEC in such a hurry, despite the irregularities identified, which ought to have been reviewed? Why was INEC in such a hurry to announce the winner when it has 14 days to look into the conflicting figures that the opposition parties were talking about? And to show you that that is the way to go, you can see that what happened in the governorship election. In Abia State, they have to review the complaint of the major stakeholders before they announced the result. It took days. They did the same thing in Adamawa. Adamawa, now there is going to be a supplementary election result, a supplementary election because of that review. And there's so many, and Kebbi State too. And so some other states that I can't come off my head now. They didn't rush to announce the results. They were subjected to review. That's what they ought to have done if INEC was truly sincere in conducting free and fair presidential election. Now, let us move to what Chimamanda wants the United States government to do. She said that U.S. response to what happened in Nigeria's election must not be business as usual. Yes, Adichie said it was shocking that the United States State Department congratulated Bola Tinubu, Nigeria's president-elect, and further described the election as a competitive election that represents a new period for Nigeria's politics and democracy. American intelligence surely cannot be so inept. A little homework, and they will know what is manifestly obvious to me and so many others. The process was imperiled not by technical shortcomings, but by deliberate manipulation. Here, Chimamanda was upset that the State Department that ought to have known that the election was manipulated congratulated Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in this letter, she's not only writing about the flaws about the election and why the winner of it should not be recognized by the United States government, but she's also talking about that the United States State Department goofed by congratulating Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because from what she wrote, they ought to have known that the election was flawed. So he said that they are inept. He accused them of ineptitude. It's tantamount to Amanda reporting the State Department to Joe Biden, who is their leader, to reprimand them for having for being, for having the kind of the audacity to congratulate a product of such a flawed process, because ordinarily they ought to have known that that is the situation of that the election was flawed. The Nigerian novelist asks Biden to uphold his stance on the need for a true democracy. The Nigerian novelist asked Biden to uphold his stance on the need for a true democracy, adding that congratulating Tinubu will be endorsing the illegitimate process that produced him as president. I hope, President Biden, that you do not personally share this cordial condescension. You have spoken of the importance of a global community for democracy and the need to stand up for justice and the rule of law. As global community for democracy cannot thrive in the face of apathy from its most powerful member. Why would the United States, which prioritizes the rule of law, endorse a president-elect who has emerged from an unlawful process? This Nigerian election was supposed to be different, and the US response cannot and must not be business as usual. Congratulating his outcome, President Biden tarnishes America's self-proclaimed commitment to democracy. Please do not give the shine of legitimacy to an illegitimate process. The United States should be what it says it is. Now, you can see Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I told you, she's a household name in America, an influential intellectual in the United States, who has gotten the PhDs of all the Ivy League in America. And she's also an influential member of the US intellectual community. Don't forget that she campaigned vigorously for Hillary Clinton to be president of the United States. Okay? And Hillary Clinton used to invite her in so many of her things that she does that requires public attention. She also campaigned for Joe Biden. She campaigned vigorously against Donald Trump. Therefore, Joe Biden owed her a listening ear. And what is she saying? He said, do not give legitimacy to the product of an illegitimate process. That's all she's saying. And I'm sure that even those who are beneficiaries of this flawed election, as confirmed by international community who describe it as flawed, international observers and even local observers at the election, they know that many people in the international community are aware of it. That's why Lai Mohammed has to go and do image laundering, going to United States, that where he was and said that peterobi committed treason. He was going to war the international media organizations to tell them that the election was free and fair. When those people have correspondence here in Nigeria that told them how the election went. And you all and I know that even before Lai Mohammed went on image laundering in Washington, D.C., Dela Aleke, one of the spokespersons of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, invited all the correspondents of international media organizations in Nigeria, the BBC, the CNN, Al Jazeera, what have you, to tell them that why are they reporting negative things about the election and about Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's emergence as president-elect. And why are they reporting positive things about peterobi, that peterobi lost the election and that peterobi, there's no way he could have won, and all that. So after doing the image laundering in Nigeria here by Dela Leke, then federal government have to bankroll the Minister of Information to go to Washington again to go and talk to the headquarters of these media organizations to convince them that the election was free and fair. If the election was free and fair, you don't need to go to Washington to go and convince them. They will know because they have people on ground here in Nigeria. So that being said, it shows you that the opposition in Nigeria, the beneficiaries of the flawed election, know that they are having a serious battle with the rest of the world. First, Biden refused to congratulate Tinubu. Femi Fani-Kayode even tweeted Biden, telling him that he must congratulate Tinubu. Since he posted that, and Biden never even reacted to it. Because he posted it so that Biden has to, that even though the State Department had congratulated Tinubu, there is a need for Biden. Of course, Biden knows what he wants, and he knows the reason why he refused to acknowledge Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu or congratulate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And now with this letter by one of the most influential writers in the world today, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, Biden will have more reason to watch what is unfolding in Nigeria carefully before taking a position for America. Thank you very much for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you will be among the first to know. God bless you.